Why is it? We often draw inspiration from people who are older than us or from people who have walked the journey before us. But today I'm going to present you with a slightly different situation. Kathlyn Bhebhe has always been my inspiration. She has always carried herself with respect and discipline. We went to NUST together. We did CTA in the same class, IAC and APC. So I have known Kathlyn for that long. That's 7 years of her being my classmate. She is now the audit senior and eligible to register as a chartered accountant in Zimbabwe. Kathlyn, welcome to our chit chat.
Thank you, Condi. I can't believe it's been 8 years already. He's like, that's too long. Where did time go? Thank you, Condi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So today we are going to discuss your journey of becoming a professional, becoming a chartered accountant. How has it been like? And giving advice to those who are coming after us. It's meant to empower and inspire someone out there. So as I have highlighted to you, I've structured this in discussion points so that we can have some sort of direction in the framework that we're going to follow.
No
So
problem.
to begin with, I would like us to discuss what inspired you to become a chartered
Zero inspiration.
accountant, and at what point?
Zero inspiration. I stumbled into it. I woke up one day and I was like, oh, there's this. No, I don't think there was inspiration per se in, you know how some people talk about, at this point I met someone who was this and then I was inspired to do this. No, for me it was never of that sort. I was going to do accounting at A level because it didn't have much reading. It was only technical. Little did I know university still. And the idea of accounting firms was planted by that lady Memoirima, I think, when she was talking to us about going for attachment. And then I then did land an attachment at an accounting firm. And my seniors at that time were two young ladies. You know, when I say young ladies, and I stumbled upon their papers when we were clearing out this and stuff, and I was like, she's this young and she's a CA. Wow.
Yes.
I was like, wow, I want this. But before that, my mom had worked with a CA from PwC. So I think she's the one who had the dream before I did, who was planting these ideas. I primarily did sciences with the backup of accounting. And so she was like, oh, let's beef it up with some business studies so that A level you get a proper combination. So when I look back, this is for her. Maybe mine is teaching. I'm yet to go to.
I can totally relate.
Like, Zali, this is for you. It's done. Take it.
For the parent. Most
This
people
for
say
the
we do degrees for the
Sorry.
degrees for the parent.
You see?
Do the degree for a parent, then do your own thing.
Do your own thing after. It's me.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I totally relate to that because I also didn't know about the chartered accountancy thing. Honestly, I was choosing this commercial combination, I think, following my instincts. No one was really kind of giving me guidance. I was just walking blindly until I applied at PKF. That is when I then found myself sitting down with the PKF partner. He was drafting the CA pathway on a bond paper using a red pen, explaining CTA, IAC, ITC, and by then, and APC. He was like, when you come work here, you will be working with people who are students at UNISA. They are working and also doing their articles. So you won't be too lost. That is when I started to actually know about this chartered accounting thing. And I'm like, what
What
else
is
do I
this
know?
about?
I'm going after this thing. And I
Yes,
went after it.
that is what exactly what happened with me, because the right there, third year attachment, it's where a lot of things were opened up, because trusting me, the ladies I worked with were so open to talk about what is this thing, what's going on. And it was two of them. One was doing with CAA, the other one was doing with UNISA. So each one will give you a perspective from an institution point of view. Each one will give you a perspective from a personal point of view. So this is where we're going. I left attachment knowing where I'm going and what I want to do. I remember telling my mom after part four,
Wow.
no, school is not done. We're starting afresh. 3 more years.
Wow.
It's the
Yeah.
people around us, honestly. It's
True, it's the
exposure.
environment. Yeah.
It's exposure. We get to learn and know those things because there is people around us who are doing it, who are knowing it. Because I think when we're in second year, I bumped into someone who was wanted to start the CTA thing. And I was carrying my books by hand, the standards by hand. And so she's asking me, okay, where did you get them? I tell her where I got them. And then in conversations with her, only for me to discover that she thinks after CTA, she's done, she can become a CA. I say, no, there's more coming. There is hours you need to attain. We need to know that what you did technically, you know, when you're doing in person, in professionally. So it's exposure. Exposure is a lot of things that we don't see the value of it. We don't appreciate it so much. We just hear about it in passing and to think exposure, but when you really come to think of it, we are here because exposure, because we've been
True.
exposed to some things. And we're like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
there is this
Yeah.
thing.
I think
Interesting.
if I have two things that I can give credit in my journey is
Mm.
exposure and the power of giving opportunities when you have nothing. Like my first employer was PKF. I only had an A-level certificate and part one results. So someone
How
taking a
did you
chance
end
to
up there?
sorry.
How did you end up there? Because some of us were not thinking of working by the time we're thinking attachment. You got into it before we even did. Your ducks were in a row.
I think I have this thing of always doing some SWOT analysis of myself. By then, I didn't know that's the word. Now I know that it fits a certain framework of always looking at where do I need to improve? What are my
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses? Do I have to accept them? Do I have to change them? So from the lectures, the interactions between the students and um, the lecturers, I could tell that if I'm to go with these people in an interview, I'm definitely not going
Mm-hmm.
to get this job. So I need to do something as quick as I can, get a job before everyone in this room tries to look for the job. Let me be ahead. So I think that needs a whole separate scenario to discuss this.
That's it.
Um,
No, it's fine. Yes, because it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. So now that you had gotten this inspiration of becoming a chartered accountant and you had the exposure and you sort of got some coaching from your seniors and you then started doing your ACTA, ITC and
Mhm.
APC. What strategies did you put in place that helped you overcome the CTA, APC and IAC exams
Thing. The
in the journey?
when I went back to do my articles, right? I found a whole different two seniors this time again. They were
Okay.
different. The first thing they told me before I even started, they told us, so before we even started, you need to give up your social life. And this is something that I also tell anyone that asks me about this. Weddings, parties, family meetings, funerals, they should miss you. And you should not feel bad. And you should let people know in your life that in this season of my life, my time is not my own, especially if you're doing your CTA part time, because you've got work deadlines, you've got studying deadlines. Remember, we used to have lessons, weekends, from 8 to 5, you are sitting in front of a screen or sitting in a class listening to someone. That exhausts you. And Monday morning, once you're fresh up and running. So from the get-go, I knew I needed to be very stingy with my time. I knew I needed to manage my time very well. If I say no, I'm not available this weekend, I should not compromise in the unavailability of that. People need to understand. So what I would do is the first point of call is the parents, is the people you stay with. I used to just then let them know, guys, I am not available. This is how the structure of this thing we're doing now is like. The exams are at this date, the exams are at this point, especially with APC and APT. When I went for the practice exams, guys, the exam is 5 days long, right? The exam on the sixth day, it's 8 days. Yes, I am here, but I am not here. I'm just on leave. Count me as someone who's at work. And God bless my sister, I would not do dishes, I would not do chores in the house because I need to. So it's always been time management. And when people say it, I never really understood it because it sounded overrated. But when you really think about it, you need time for yourself, you need time for the books, you need time to reset, you need time for the work, you need time to absorb what you have even learned, and you need to learn ahead with CTA. We always needed to learn ahead of the lecture. If the lecture is going to be on this topic, IFRS 16, you need to go in there knowing your stuff about IFRS 16. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with our in class, asking things that are the B part of the standard. You've not even done the first part. So it's
No,
always
that
been always been time. You need to be stingy with your time. You need to, if there is one thing you'll sacrifice with CTA at the beginning, it is your time. Yes, mental health will go gradually, but time is the first thing you need to sacrifice. You need to say, this is where we're going, and this is what I need to pay now before we even get there. Right?
oh.
But it's fun.
Oh, that's very, very important. Your time and letting the people around you know the season that you are in your life. And you're enjoying the dividends now, huh? Eligible to register as a chartered accountant in Zimbabwe. You can
It
now
is
go to
coming.
all the social events. You can go and watch
You
Boso
know,
versus Dynamos.
now you can. You have no idea how much time I have now. I've even picked up reading again because I've got so much time.
Watching series those days.
You see, things you'd
Yeah,
never dream
true.
of.
Yeah, that's very
At the
true.
beginning, you'd never.
Yeah, when they're saying give up your social life, they are really serious about that because you need to
Mhm.
lock in, work hard, focus, and get it done once and for all. Mind you, most people are doing
Get it,
this thing
get it done.
um, at the cost of the company or sponsorship. So you can thank your sponsor or your company by just doing what is right
Mhm.
with your studies. Just pass and don't make them regret choosing you. There are so many
Don't.
people out there.
That's the trickiest thing about this adult education, because if you're
Yeah.
self-funding, those money, it's wonder fit, guys. Hybrid. I could be driving now.
Yes.
And you know there is a lot at stake, and especially if you have parents that track your academics, right? It's very
Yeah.
difficult to explain how you're coming with 14% for text. And
17.
and you know, and you know, going into that, it's possible.
You know, those are quite humbling marks. The 14%, the 9%,
Very,
because coming from a
very.
position of getting maybe 60s, 50s, maybe 75
Mhm.
and so forth. Then now you're getting 17. It really does something to your psyche.
It
It really
does.
affects you to some extent. It makes you more resilient. The fact that you can go back to the exam and say, this time around, I'm going to improve A, B, C, and D. Look at your paper, you're like, okay, all the thing that I was waffling in writing, it means nothing. So where can I improve? Yeah, I
Mhm.
think, yeah, yeah,
It
I
does.
agree with that.
It
So
doesn't
maybe
help
just tell
you.
us.
'Cause- mhm, mhm.
Yes, you can go ahead.
I remember when we went for test one. Remember how test one they told us you're going to fail, and I
Yeah.
knew test one would fail. So when test one came, I wasn't even really surprised. My lowest was tax. I had 27%. I tell the story till date. It was 27%. So when we were going for end of semester, I was like, no, I'm going to improve there. I saw my tax problem was here. End of semester marks came. Tax had just increased by 1% from 27 to 28%. I was
So
distraught to say the least. I was devastated. I think I went through a series of depression. A friend of mine, Robert, said to me, Kathlyn, had you failed the CTA thing at the end of the year, I was not going to do it because what I saw you going through.
that's the thing with this journey. You are kind of probably the first person to do it, maybe in your family or in your circle. And most people are looking up to you. You're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the tribe. You're doing it for the everyone around you. You're doing it for the community because now you're inspiring the younger people. I think I did it well because one of my sisters is now doing accounting. I think she drew some inspiration
Ah,
from me, so it's
well
working well.
done. Because wow. Because especially if you are a student that has never dealt with failure, it hits you
True.
hard because now you are grown. You need to now have a relationship with failure to know that this is not the end of you. You are going to come out of it. What are you going to do about it without neglecting feeling how it feels? You just sit with your results for a week or two, but from then on, it's important what you do. And also having a community of people. I tell you, after that first semester, I almost dropped out and said I'll start again next year because clearly I don't know what I was doing. I was talking to
Yes.
Charmaine, and Charmaine says, "No, okay, this is normal. Go with it. It gets better with time." It did. So you see, also tethering to other people, having people around you that are also going through the same thing. I wouldn't have known that 27% is normal.
Totally agree with
I
you.
would have known that we are in this thing together, all of us, if I didn't listen to what other people were also going through. So having also those relationships around you, very important. It's
Yeah,
the
true.
stress.
Also, seeing other people's marks actually makes you comfort you to some certain level
Mhm.
because you're like, okay, I'm not the only one.
I'm not
It's
the
not
only
as
one.
bad. And maybe
Remember,
something
there
to
used to be
highlight.
that analysis. Remember that mark analysis that
Yes,
was
yes,
grading red, yellow, green, and I used to follow that thing religiously. Oh, I'm in yellow. The bulk of the
yes.
class is in yellow. I'm on the right track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The end of semester report really was a good thing because it gave us some level of comfort. You're like, okay, yes,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm part of the people who failed, but someone actually got 70 something percent is in the top 10. So it means if I also lock in and put in some effort, I can move
Mhm.
from 30 to 50.
I can. I can.
Yeah.
There is
I
hope.
think the
You
other
need to
difficult thing is, yeah, you
uh-huh.
can go ahead.
You need to hype yourself up at some point. You're a
True.
greatest cheerleader at
I'm
every
true.
turn. You look at that one module that you did well at, and like, but you know what?
So I think the other thing that people struggle with, especially very smart people who never struggled in high school. Myself, I never
Mhm.
struggled in high school,
Same here.
so I had some sort of difficulty adjusting to CTA. But I had already experienced that in undergrad because you really have to put some certain level of
Mhm.
effort. Um, Adjusting to work hard at the rate which the CTA level expects you because of
Mhm.
the load and the amount of content that you have to go through. It's really difficult. It's very hard.
It's
You don't need to postpone. I know the mistake that I made in my first semester was relaxing. Like, I think I woke up around June, and that is when I enrolled for a board course, AOC board course. One thing
because
about me, I'm not shy of doing extra lessons.
Is it? I never thought of
I do
it.
extra lessons. You know,
I,
if I'm within a group of people who don't believe in extra lessons, I'll go on Nicodemusly and do extra lessons.
they will not shame you if they don't know.
No, I can't fail because people don't believe this thing work. I know myself. I need to hear this again and again. Oh yeah. So I think
Interesting.
yeah, the next question that I would want to hear you speak to is which level was the most gruesome for you? You like the word gruesome. This was gruesome. This was bad.
That,
Oh, and which
even
one
that
did we
word,
choose?
even that word, I don't think it's enough. The most gruesome one was CTA because CTA, you needed a lot. There was a lot of content. Remember, I keep saying the way we did standards at undergrad and the way we were looking at standards, two different things now. And
Yeah.
it was taxing a lot. And funny enough, the one I enjoyed the most was APT and APC, hey? The APC podcast. And
Agree.
what I
Agree.
enjoyed about it was not the classes, right? But it was the structure of the exam. What do you mean I have 5 days and I need to research? I get to air out my opinions to say this is what I'm
Yeah.
getting from this thing. It was a gold mine for an opinionated person. Even now, this year, I have been just reading the scenarios for the guys that are doing at my work that are doing. Okay, you guys wrote today. Okay, tomorrow I'm definitely walking into everybody's office. Oh, guys, how was it? How did that
Yeah.
thing? I really, I didn't understand how it goes at first, especially looking at how the pre-release can have questions and then information of the day doesn't have those questions. But do you know what helped me? TikTok. You know how there
Yeah.
are people on TikTok that live to speak about those things, people like you that speak about those things. And I am not shy to interact on the videos. I remember there's this TikToker, I think his name is Brandon Hayes. He's South African he did his articles in the UK. I would ask on his post, he will do tips video and I will ask. So there by pre-release, when they say this, what exactly do they mean? You know, it's just that's the part I enjoyed most. City A, I cannot for the life of me. I'll not go back.
No, I totally relate to your experiences. Really, CTA 2 for me was the worst. CTA 1 at some point, it was that bad.
You were crying.
But CTA 2 was very challenging for me because I think at the most critical time I was in Zambia, kind of
Oh, I
away
remember.
and isolated. You're doing study groups online. Lucky enough, my study partners were doing these things in the evening online. May God bless them.
Ah,
But
you see,
yeah,
this
it
is the
was.
other thing that has never really worked for me. Study groups. I would rather
Yeah,
come to you personally on some. Conde, there is an every 16 part somewhere that I don't understand. And
yeah,
anyone that asks me about CTA journey, I tell them before they start that the first semester is for you to see what works for you. Go into groups. If they don't work, and you get out soon enough. Go into studying alone. If it does not work for you, soon enough to get out and change the strategy while you have time. I think groups didn't work for me from undergrad, and I knew from then that I am very anxious about my time. So if I'm saying I'm logged in for an hour, I can't be waiting for Gondi to get online for us to discuss something that I've probably passed through. While I appreciate that those things really do work for people, I mean, I come Nicodemusly and ask Gondi there by management fees. What are we doing?
I absolutely love what you have just said because it highlights the diversity in people. It
Mhm.
highlights how different we are. Because some people truly believe that you can only make it in a group, but they
Yeah.
don't take note of other people who can do it alone and look for help. I actually love that you highlighted this. The person need to um do some self-assessment. Self-awareness is
Yes.
very critical on this stage. Know what works for you. Do you operate better in a bigger group or a small group or what?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's very critical. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I hope somebody will take that and put it to use. So were you ever able to relate your studies to your work, or there was a disconnect?
No, there was a beautiful connect, especially with audit, being in audit. So, such that some audit questions, if I'm asked substantive procedures, I think, what would I do on the field first? If I run out of points, I'm thinking, on the field, there is this checklist. From a planning point of view, there is this checklist.
I think
It was beautiful.
you dropped off a bit.
Okay. I was saying, especially with audit, there was some,
Yeah.
you can see that this is what I was doing at work yesterday. And if a question comes on substantive procedures and I've run out of things to say, I'm writing exactly what I was doing at work yesterday. Such that
Lovely.
now, even when you are drawing up working papers or you are explaining a procedure to somebody, I always make it a point to emphasize this is how you write an audit procedure. It has to be have how, what, and why, what document, what assertion, what are you looking for exactly? And I think it was shaped mainly because of the schooling side of things. So I really enjoyed how it was then coming together. Like, okay, this is interesting. And I can now argue to say, no, but if it's 15, your system is not configured well. If it's 15 is not in agreement with this thing, it's such it's such one of those things. There was a lot of this is where this thing is fitting in. It wasn't worlds apart. It was not. How are
Yeah.
you doing it from the industry point of view? Did you also see that this is where this is coming from?
You have said it so beautifully. So I also, like, I had the privilege of being in an audit firm previously before
Mhm.
joining Top. Audit and tax were always like the easiest for me. I knew that I will pass two modules. If anything, I'm going to pass two modules. Um, yes, yeah. I remember there's one specific scenario that I could relate so well with our business. It was on transport services, if you remember that. It was asking
Yes,
about the KPIs and all that. That was a math question
yes,
in
yes,
CPA
it was
level. Yes,
CTA. Yes.
and yes, my training office had a transport division, and from interactions with people and meetings and all that, you get to hear how things are done and all that. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, now I need to apply what I have come across in my life.
It was
Let me
CTA.
bring business into this exam. And yeah, that was one thing that I could relate so well. And I think math generally, except things that were too kind of
Text.
technical, like the valuations, because I wasn't quite in the
Yeah.
valuation space. Especially
Muffled.
other factors. Somebody
This is where you thrive.
when you have been exposed to a project that's happening and you have been in meetings with people from different backgrounds, engineers, marketers, and all that, and you listen, you can't remember the exact point that was said, but from the meeting you can actually feel that this has caused some paradigm shift in how I
Mhm,
see
mhm,
things and how
mhm,
I think.
mhm.
And yes, it was very much relatable. And I always say that with one thing with the CTA journey, if you do CTA and you don't make it at the end of the year, you will
Mhm.
remain a changed person. You won't be the same person
True.
you were before CTA.
Yes,
The results mean nothing. That process on its own helps
it
you like
truly.
see things differently and be able to
Mhm.
relate and integrate different aspects of your work and school.
It
Yeah, so
changes how you think.
yes, absolutely, it does. Have you at any point felt like giving along the journey?
Giving up. I did
Yeah, giving
first
up.
year CTA one that first semester. I almost, but it wasn't exactly giving up. It was let me try again in the next year. The thing about me, I've always had this thing of you need to see things through. Maybe it's because I've seen it in my family. No one ever starts something to leave it halfway. You need to see it through. did not, my mom would say, no one goes into an exam to fail. So you will fail, it's fine. Let's try again and see. I remember I was chatting with Luba towards the end of CTA1, and we're saying, but the truth is, even if we fail, you and I know that next year we are back at it as opening stock.
Drugged. This check they drugged.
You see, it's and if a mentor of mine said, or Michelle said to me, if you don't feel like giving up at some point, it's not worth doing, or you are doing it wrong, especially with CTA. You are doing it wrong. There's somewhere you are it needs to frustrate you at some point, and you're like, ah, no, no, I'm done, I'm done. And then tomorrow you're like, no, but this is the end goal. This is where we're going. And you go towards that.
The girl just has to be in the boardroom somehow. Somehow you need to finish that thing.
You need to
So
make it.
yeah, you really need to. Like I said, that you have to make it not only for yourself but for everyone. I'll tell you
Mm-hmm.
a story of what happened with me during my A level. I wrote accounting in June and I got a D. You know
Uh-huh.
when you're a smart kid and even the
Yes.
teacher is asking you how did it happen? And you're like,
What?
I don't know. So I was now telling my mom that you know what, I failed this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
subject. I thought I was going to pass. And she was like, if it's difficult, Tiana, just leave it. Focus on
Just leave it.
mathematics and business studies and boost your mark. I was like, okay. But when I was now alone, I thought, you know what, I'm the firstborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I
Mm-hmm.
give up on this thing, everyone coming after me will be told that,
Have a
as smart
reason.
as she was, she gave up on
Yeah.
accounting. Don't ever try it. That was something that was going to even cousins. I think they would
Mm-hmm.
they would, they would be told by maybe their parents that, you know what, don't try this. And you tried it
Continue.
and she gave up. And because of that, I was like, no, like I said, we live for ourselves, but
You
we're
carry a whole entire
carrying
generation.
the whole the
Someone
whole
is looking at you.
community. Yes, people are watching. They are watching. They are not saying anything, but they are
Hmm.
watching and drawing
They are
inspiration from what
watching.
you're doing. So because of
Mm-hmm.
that, I then like did it, wrote it in November and got an A.
November.
And I was very
You
happy. You
see,
see, now I'm now eligible to register as a chartered accountant
that's
because I
where you
didn't
are
give up.
now. Because you refused to give up. Ah, you
Look
need to
at
refuse.
me.
Maybe
Yeah.
at some point, be very
Yeah,
stubborn with what you want.
yes. So I'm seeing that I think we're left with 5 more
Minute.
minutes. So,
Uh-huh.
so maybe we can just touch on the work-life balance. Is it practical during the CA journey?
It's where you start trading in your emotional your emotional health, your mental health. That trying to go for it is where you start trading in, because truth is work needs you. Truth is your school needs you, and this is where you need to be creative with your days, and your days start having 48 hours. You know how when you get home, you shower, you sleep. When they are going to sleep, you wake up and you are on to the next thing. Lunchtime, what are you doing? Start there, be studying there, be pushing something. I remember I would read a scenario lunchtime. When I get home, I'm attempting the questions. If I don't finish tomorrow, I am revising that same paper. It's at every point you get, do something. The balance will
Yeah,
come.
yeah,
Make sure you are on top of your deadlines. This thing of I will schedule it for tomorrow. No, handle it here and now. Especially in
yeah, yeah.
audit, you've got client deadlines, you've got supervisor deadlines, you've got a whole chain of juniors coming to you to ask this, and you need to be graceful, especially to the young ones that are coming before you. So you really need to, your mental health is important. While you need to protect it, you also need to understand that you need to show up in all of those aspects. You need to
True,
show up.
true, true, true. Showing up is very important, especially in the professional world. And how you show
Very.
up, right? There's one person who was talking about being authentic. You may
Mhm.
be pissed off by something at home or along the way to work.
Right.
you can be authentic by showing your emotions to other people. You're just being who you are, but no, you have to fake it and show up as a person who is doing well emotionally, because these people didn't do anything to you. Yeah.
They did
So
not.
at one point, we're having a meeting with our mentors, and one finance manager was like, "This city, Jenny, you eat, you sleep, you study, eat, sleep, study." I was like, "No,
You don't have
I'm
time for
going to
anything
count."
else. And if you feel like dancing while you study, some of the bad energies will go. Then come back to it. Pick up where you left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Routine. Routine is important with this thing. Have,
Mhm.
how you get
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, the routine is actually a very good a system that you
Mhm.
could put in place. So one thing about me, I always knew that I start before I sleep. I don't
Ah,
like lying to myself. Lying to myself hates me a lot. I can lie to other people, but not very. It's not
go to
something that I
yourself.
often do. So if I lie to myself and say I'm going to sleep and wake up and read, it hurts me because I know the moment I sleep, I'm not going to
Just
wake up.
waking up.
And the person who reads before they sleep, there is no
Ah,
tomorrow for me. Eat
there's no
that frog
tomorrow.
now.
Yes, immediately because while it's still hot, hey, yeah.
So I think we're left with less than a minute. I think we can just continue to part two, to just close off with the three remaining questions,
No
which are not going
problem.
to take. So we will meet again in a few seconds. All right.